Today we're getting into the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news, including the fully uncovered new Tesla Model Y in the wild, Tesla's record-breaking Q3, Tesla's method for extending the EV tax credit, the release of the updated Model 3, the Apple Vision getting canceled, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Q3 has officially closed out, which means a couple things. Of course, it's the end of a quarter, but also it's the end of the federal EV tax credit. The end of that credit actually operated as its own sales incentive for EVs across the board from all companies, and it definitely worked in that manner. This seems to coincide with Tesla succeeding overall because they posted their quarter results, saying, quote, "In the third quarter, we produced over 447,000 vehicles, delivered over 497,000 vehicles, and deployed 12.5 gigawatt hours of energy storage products, a record for both deliveries and deployments. Thank you to all our customers, employees, suppliers, shareholders, and supporters who helped us achieve these results." The breakdown here is that for production, they produced 435,826 Model 3s and Ys and 11,624 of all of their other cars. So that's the Model S, Model X, and Cybertruck. That ended up with a total of 447,450 cars produced. It is worth noting that the Model 3 and Y numbers there now include the Model YL in China. So that Y category is getting pretty broad at this point. Then for deliveries, they delivered 481,166 of the Model 3 and Y, 15,933 of others, and that ended up with that grand total of 497,099 cars delivered. After this, quote, Tesla will post its financial results for the third quarter of 2025 after market close on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. So the big thing here is that this actually represents a 7.4% year-over-year increase over Q3 of 2024, and that's very good news for Tesla, and they very much beat expectations across the board for their deliveries. In addition to that as well, that 12.5 gigawatt hours of storage deployment is also a record. So this surge in delivery is widely credited to buyers rushing to place orders before that tax credit expired on September 30th. So many people are now worried, what does Q4 look like? People are expecting a drop in demand, just as they always seem to be. And this coincides with Europe and UK sales that were weaker, declining by about 22.5% in those markets. This is a very interesting spot to watch Tesla in, because if nothing changes with their cars and they don't introduce anything cheaper, I think it would be a rough Q4, especially after that rush that they had with the tax credit in place. But hopefully they're releasing this standard range car quite soon here, and we'll get to that detail in just a minute. In any case, to meet their delivery goal of 1.61 million vehicles delivered throughout the full year, Tesla needs to deliver about 389,498 vehicles in Q4. Now, speaking of their current cars, out of Berlin, Tesla has discontinued the blue color that they've shipped so far for the Model Y. And a lot of people think this indicates that the Glacier blue color they ship over in China is now coming to Berlin, and then after that, we might see it come to the US as well. At the same time, Tesla is launching the new Model 3 in more markets. This is the kind of slight refresh and slight backtrack of the refresh that they did in 2024. They're adding a front bumper camera, finally, that was expected to come originally and actually was originally on rendered images that Tesla posted of the Model 3, but then it didn't come to be. Now it's finally coming. Then they're adding back the turn signal stock. This is also being updated to come with LG's 5M battery. Along with this, Tesla has launched the rear-wheel drive long-range trim in Australia and New Zealand. But now let's get into the leaks of this new affordable Model Y standard. We've seen plenty of leaks of this car at this point. We've seen them covered up. We've seen some details peeking through these covers. We've known essentially what this was going to be. Tesla communicated it would come in Q4, but now a prototype was spotted out on the road completely uncovered. To me, this indicates that this is just around the corner, because why else would Tesla drive with one completely uncovered? This car, which is definitely an altered version of the Model Y, was spotted on the highway without camouflage, revealing a few of its design changes. Instead of being a brand new model, of course, this is going to be a stripped down version of the Model Y, but it does have some notable exterior changes. That front light bar is gone, and instead it's just going to come with some narrow headlights. Then the rear light bar is also removed, replaced by a horizontal black line with no Tesla badging right there. It's kind of a similar design, it's just much thinner. Then this car is riding with Tesla's 19-inch wheels, but new aerodynamic, very efficient 18-inch wheels are also expected to come on the base model here. Now, looking around back, there is an interesting detail here involving the rear trunk lid. A lot of people are looking at this and saying that it seems misaligned, but I don't think that's the case actually at all. The trunk lid actually appears to be a little bit of a different shape, which is an interesting change that they would make on a cheaper version of this car. Of course, that lid will come with some changes because of that different version of the rear light bar, but it seems like they've kind of eliminated the sharp corners that this has, which I think overall is actually probably helpful. And it's one of those changes where Tesla will update things on the latest trim of a car, but not all versions across the board. So this might come as kind of a benefit in some ways for this car, but not be included on the higher end trims of the Model Y, which is quite interesting. Here's more of a close-up of what the front bumper looks like, and it's much more in line with the stock Model 3, and then it has those thin headlights. This one also does not have a Tesla logo on the front, but that's probably more of a prototype thing. Other things we're expecting are no interior LED lighting, simpler air vents, single axis controls in the interior, and then no glass roof. It's kind of hard to tell in these images, but it seems like this is probably just a black roof. Now, in leaks that we've seen quite recently, it seems like the starting price for this car could be $39,990. For some people, all of these downgrades, and then especially if they downgrade the range, will make it so this car isn't really worth it, and it's only worth upgrading to the long-range rear-wheel drive at $45,000. But that price is not confirmed, and I'm hoping it comes in a little less than this. We'll have to see. Some other additional details have been found in Tesla's website code as well that confirm more of what they're removing here. This is going to have a 7-speaker sound system, which is still pretty good, but it's definitely different than the 15-speaker sound system included in the higher trims of this. They're planning for dual-tone seats with textile and vegan leather incorporated into them, so that will probably look a lot like what we saw in the rear-wheel drive Cybertruck. There are no matrix headlights, so there won't be the same adaptive headlights features that we see delivered in Tesla's other Model Ys. There will be standard high beams, and then manually adjustable side mirrors, as well as manual folding second-row seats. So some of those things like the manual adjust side mirrors are something we haven't seen Tesla deliver before. But unless the mechanism is entirely different for the second row seats, it seems like they will fold just the same as they used to before the refresh. Overall, of course, these will feel like downgrades in this car, but when you're coming directly to this car from another one, I think this overall package will still feel pretty good. I also wouldn't be surprised if when they say manually adjustable side mirrors, they're talking about the fact that they don't fold. It seems unlikely that Tesla would make you actually manually adjust them by touching the mirrors as far as the angle goes. But of course, we will see what it actually ends up being in practice. Maybe they've removed all power to those mirrors to help save on cost. But regardless, it seems that we've fully seen the exterior of this car and we know what it looks like. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you like this better than the higher end trims of this car? Or did Tesla do a good job of balancing this where it still looks kind of good, but you still want to maybe upgrade and it feels more premium to get the one with the light bars? Let me know in the comments below, but right now it seems quite likely that Tesla already held an influencer event for the release of this car. And those people are on an embargo for content on it until it releases. Tesla probably has a date that they're telling people right now. Tesla has been joining in on this speculation on X, which makes us think it's just around the corner as well. They actually joked about refreshing the website with a GIF that they posted on X. So this could possibly just be an event for the performance Model Y, which is now coming in December in the United States, but to me that seems quite unlikely. They held an overall big event here. Sawyer Merritt was there and posted about it. Kyle Connor was there and also posted about it. And so did Joe Tegtmeyer. They all posted that they were at Giga Texas and had fun at an event, but none of them said anything about what this is. Tesla further added to it saying he was just craving some Terry Blacks when referring to Sawyer Merritt being in Texas. The other thing that's possible here is that this was actually someone out on the road driving this car for their video that they are making with it, and they just happened to be spotted. Regardless, I do think we'll be seeing this car within a couple of days at the most. Of course, the Model Y is Tesla's best-selling car, and it's actually the one they're most optimized on for production as a whole. They have it coming out of multiple factories across the world and in the United States, and their cost to build it actually still seems to be better than the Model 3. So that's going to be their focus over overall when it comes to making a more affordable car. It's also just the package that people like the most. Crossover SUVs are very popular in the United States. At the same time, however, we do expect that after this gets released, maybe in a little bit of time here, we're going to see a Model 3 Standard come to be. They're already going to be working on the stripped back features for this car and releasing it, so it would probably be very easy for them to do the same thing with a Model 3 Standard. The thing I'm most curious to see is what did they do with the battery? Does this come with a lower range, a standard range battery? And is it LFP, or what chemistry does it use? Or do they keep it the same with long range, kind of like they did with the rear-wheel drive Cybertruck? We should see very soon here. Next up today, we know, of course, that the EV tax credit has officially ended in the United States. That means that $7,500 discount that a lot of people qualified for is no longer available on Teslas or any other EVs. But one way that this tax credit worked before was that for people who wouldn't qualify for it when purchasing, they could kind of get this through a loophole by leasing. The tax credit would go to the company that was leasing the car, and then they would factor that into the lease price to the customer. That's part of why we've already seen a leasing price increase from Tesla after the tax credit expired. However, in a sense, Tesla is continuing this EV tax credit and kind of extending it beyond the deadline, because they're extending a $6,500 lease incentive. So Tesla buyers who lease the car and then decide to buy it out basically get $5,000 off. When you look into the math here, it's a $6,500 lease credit, but then there are fees like a $395 disposition fee, a $695 acquisition fee, and then a $350 buyout fee. So your net benefit essentially ends up being about $5,060 off of the car. Definitely not the same as $7,500, but still a pretty great discount. And in some sense, it's a discount that you only get by leasing and then buying out instead of financing. This appears to be a behavior that we're seeing from a lot of different automakers, and it probably will continue for some time because they need to make up some of the difference here, so it's not just a sudden shock to all of their prices across the board entirely. Then things will probably be able to even out a little bit once they introduce a more affordable car, so their starting price can actually be lower without any sort of tax credit or particular incentive. Regardless of what changes here, I'll be sure to keep you posted. Next up today, a couple of updates for Tesla's products as a whole and their quarter. The Cybertruck is now available to order in the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, and Saudi Arabia. These are markets where that's able to expand, and it could do quite well in those markets, especially since Tesla has gone with the Cybertruck just being at this premium price. It seems like at this point they've kind of given up on making a truly cheaper version of the Cybertruck, at least anytime soon. Now, in addition to Tesla's deliveries for Q3, they also talked about the fact that they opened 4,000 new Supercharger stalls in the quarter, more than any other quarter in the company's history, and that is up 18% year over year. This is great to see because a lot of people were worried about the Supercharger network when some big changes happened with that team over at Tesla. It seems that things are expanding quite well here, and they've just launched their first V4 Supercharger cabinet as well, which allows 500 kilowatt peak charging speeds on the Cybertruck and seemingly other EVs once they open it to other companies. Then kind of a crazy update for the Tesla diner. Tesla reported that they sold over 50,000 Tesla burgers, and they brought in about $675,000 of revenue at that diner specifically. Overall, the diner's doing quite well, of course, because it has a lot of hype around it, so I'm curious to see where things go in Q4 and into 2026 and beyond. I live in Los Angeles, so I'll definitely go check it out, now that interest will hopefully have died down a little bit, but it seems like it will still be quite popular. Last up today, some updates from other automakers and tech companies. Over at Apple, the Apple Vision Pro has kind of been their flagship product as of late. It comes with a ton of amazing technology, but of course it comes in at that price tag starting at $3,500. As such, we've heard a lot about Apple working on an Apple Vision Air that would be a cheaper version of this to more so compete with lower-end headsets like the Meta Quest. However, now that Meta has released their smart glasses, Apple has reportedly, quote, hit pause on the Vision Air project, and they've reassigned that staff to work on their own version of smart glasses with a display. The Vision Air had been projected as a lighter, more affordable headset, and it was hopefully going to be about 50% cheaper than the Vision Pro and come in Q2 of 2027. Instead, Apple wants to work on smart glasses, because Meta has released theirs that are pretty compelling. Now it's expected that Apple could reveal a displayless smart glasses as early as 2026, and then it might be released in 2027. Now, we talked in my last video about the Vision Pro getting an M5 chip upgrade, and that still seems to be on track, but Apple and Meta are very much expected to be competing for AR smart glasses in the near future here. Meta plans a binocular display version of the Ray-Ban display in 2027, and maybe Apple will be aiming to ship a similar product in their own ecosystem around that time. Regardless, it is a very interesting space to watch because the Vision Pro has been some amazing technology, but at a crazy price and a very large form factor. Then you have these smart glasses from Meta that seem quite cool, but it's also very much future technology that's coming in very quickly. I think many didn't expect we'd get there this fast, so we'll see how this technology develops and how people get used to it. Now, speaking of those Meta Ray-Ban display glasses, the first models are officially out and they've already sold out as early adopters are buying these things right away. According to Meta's CTO, restocks are coming and they plan to double the number of stores where the glasses are offered quite soon here. They said, quote, "Meta Ray-Ban display is off to a flying start. Almost every store we've stocked across the country has sold out and demos are almost fully booked out through November. Love to see such a strong reaction to a killer product, working hard to get more pairs into people's hands sooner." They also clarified why demos are required in order to buy this, because it is required. You have to get it in a store right now. You can't simply order these online. And they said, for people asking why demos are required, between display glasses and the neural band, these are two pieces of tech that almost nobody has ever experienced before. As they first roll out, we want to make sure people get the right fit and the best introduction before buying. I think that's also probably a pretty good way for Meta to prevent people from returning this product. Of course, the obvious that he mentioned there, people returning it because it doesn't fit, but the other piece would be people returning it because it's just not the experience they expected. However, if you fully experience a demo and then buy it, you're much more likely to have decided you truly want this product. Currently, these are only available in the US, selling at Best Buy, LensCrafters, Sunglasses Hut, and Ray-Ban stores in key cities, as well as the Meta Lab, and they come in at $800. I do have a demo scheduled in a couple days, so I am kind of excited to try these out. I'm not expecting that I'll follow through with a purchase, but we'll see how good the experience is in person. Next up, over at GM, they've issued a recall affecting over 23,700 units of the 2024 Chevy Equinox EV. This recall specifically concerns the pedestrian alert sound system. Apparently, this system may not generate enough noise to adequately warn people nearby at low speeds or when shifting into drive. The issue may cause the vehicle to not comply with FMVSS number 141, which is a US vehicle standard. The fix here is a software update of the body control module, and GM said that they aren't aware of any incidents or accidents tied to this defect. Letters to owners will go out around November 10th, and they say that this recall only affects models built between August 8th of 2023 and August 28th of 2024. That's all the latest tech, EV, and Tesla news for today. So in the meantime, if you want to check out a full video breaking down all of the maintenance that's required for Tesla vehicles and other EVs, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.